All right, so it seems as if I am fully logged on onto YouTube. I apologize to anybody that was watching the link previously that had broken. It's part of the growing pains with all this technology that we're dealing with, and at the same time, it's part of the typical problems that we come across every day. That if we didn't have those problems, then you know it wouldn't be another day. So it seems like we're in there. If there's anybody watching on the chat, just let me know if you're actually hearing the audio. I don't know if we have full audio at this moment, and to want to make sure that we don't have any breaks or anything like that. I am able to see the chats through here, so we'll have that. I'm going to do one last attempt to be able to connect to Facebook once more. And if that's a fail as well, then it's going to be without Facebook, unfortunately. Even though I wanted to have it there, I don't think I'm going to be able to do that. It will only allow me to link to Facebook or YouTube. I could only do it through one of these channels at one at a time. So now we got past all these technical issues, and now that we made this another one of these flawless beginnings on the real estate plate, let's get started. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Real Estate Plate. As always, I'm your host, Nick Sikalis, coming to you live from the WGBB studios here in America, New York. And as I was alluding before on the break, probably anybody that was watching on Facebook, this meeting is being recorded. So let's make sure that we don't lose this. It's a typical Monday, boys and girls. It wouldn't be a Monday without having these technical issues. So let's start over. Let's give everybody the intro as we normally would. Good evening and welcome to the Real Estate Plate. As always, I'm your host, Nick Sikalis, coming to you live from the WGBB studios, but I'm not in the WGBB studios tonight. I am doing this from a remote location, and that's why we're having all these technical issues today. But that being said, I haven't been doing a lot of content of late on the channel. And I do apologize to a lot of the subscribers that have been watching. I know that you come looking forward to seeing at least posts coming in 2 to 3 times a week. And for the past few weeks, I've been doing barely one, which is usually the live stream coming from the station while we're doing the radio show. And that's because a lot of things that have been going on. Right now, it's been a really chaotic few weeks. Business has been bonkers. The real estate world is all over the place. If you're doing real estate, if you're doing commercial, if you're doing residential, if you're doing rentals, if you're doing lease negotiations, there is so much going on in so many different aspects of the business. If you're a landlord and you're doing property management, you got your hands full from that end. There's just so much going on right now that I'll tell you something. It's keeping me busy. I wish it was a different kind of busy that it's keeping me, but it's keeping me busy. It's definitely giving me all I can handle on a daily basis. And it's keeping my team going. They're busy. trying to fulfill all the needs of all our clients. But at the same time, I do understand and I do take into consideration the viewers, the listeners on the station, the subscribers that we have on YouTube, the followers that we have on Facebook. And I don't want to make them feel that we're neglecting and putting out less content for that reason. So going forward, we're going to be putting out a lot more content. I've been holding back on multiple videos that have been sitting in the archives waiting for some editing to be done and to be published. Those are going to go up there. We'll do a lot more live streams. We'll do a lot more live content as well, because this market needs to have more than a one time a week type of cast and update. Now let's start from a personal level. Things have changed here in Long Island. Besides the market flux that we're dealing with two combating different markets, whether we're dealing with the booming residential market and the possibly teetering commercial market, there's been big waves and big changes here in Long Island as far as real estate brokerage is concerned. As I mentioned a few weeks ago, there was a major merger and acquisition that was taking place. All the Century 21 offices, Century 21 American Home offices, were merged into all the Coldwell Banker offices. So now you have this major juggernaut that's encompassing not only Nassau, Suffolk, but also Queens and Brooklyn under the one banner of Coldwell Banker American Homes. And that's a big, big deal. And that's a big, big change as far as the landscape of how real estate brokerage is being conducted. Major, major difference. And people don't seem to really comprehend how different this is. We're talking about a major jump. I think that this is going to force all the competition to bring their A games. There's going to be less divide, because you had a company, and by the way, all disclosure, yes, I am part of this company, and my role has changed as well under this company as well, and I'll get into that momentarily. So I need to make sure that everybody understands. I do have a personal connection to what's happening, but this is coming from unbiased and completely neutral type of understanding of what's going on and explanation. So you had two companies that were, look at that, look at that microphone that just keeps blinking out and out. That's the magic of technology. Look, yeah, there it goes again. There it goes. There, see that? That's technology. For those people that don't know and can't tell, the brick wall in the background is not a real brick wall. The logo that you see saying the real estate plate that's scrolling down and blinking in and out, that's not a real banner that's behind me. It's all computer generated. And it's to effect of a green screen kind of effect. Now, for some reason, they get that so well done, but on top of my head, we get a whole white halo along my hands, and this microphone keeps blinking in and out. And the closer I get to it, the more it appears. The further away I go, it disappears. So, in case you're wondering why that's happening while you're watching this stream, that's why. So, that's what, I'm getting sidetracked already. But the good thing, I'm not going to have Trevor today kicking me out of the studio because I'm doing this remotely. So if I need to go over, I will go over. So the thing is, you have a big company such as Coldwell Banker Realty, that was the pre-existing model, and you had a pretty decent sized secondary company of Century 21 American Homes that was quite a competitor on the other side. Now, most of the offices that they had connections with were dominantly on the South Shore, along with Queens and Brooklyn, and sprinkled in with the rest of the island. And then you have Coldwell Banker that was dominantly North Shore and going down, a little down to the west. And you had a complete dominance of Suffolk. Now you have these two companies not competing against each other anymore and pooling their resources and focusing on more market share. And what's that do to the rest of the competition? It forces them to step up their game. It forces the new company, Coldwell Banker American Homes, to bring their A game and keep that gold standard of excellence and professionalism going and improving. And it forces every single competitor. I'm not going to name all the competitors. Everybody knows them. But it forces them. I like a healthy form of competition. I think it forces everything to get better. It financially gets it more competitive and improves the overall quality of the service. So that was a very, very big move, and you're going to see a lot of major things happening over the next few weeks, going to the next few months, that are going to change the landscape of Long Island real estate. Not to mention New York real estate. So that's very, very interesting. Now, how did my role change? Well, my role changed in a way where we are restructuring a couple of the offices. And for the first time, they are consolidating all the commercial people under one house. There will be an office where there will be meeting rooms, seminar rooms, individual workstations, places to meet with clients. That's dedicated solely to the commercial department. And that's a big deal because previously, not only Century 21, Coldwell Banker as well, they didn't have that one dedicated office that was purely commercial driven. They had a very, very strong commercial division, but it had all their agents and brokers spread out through all their offices, which is not a bad thing to do as well. And that will still be a component to the way the model goes going forward. But now they're going to be all under one roof. And they'll be able to utilize a lot more resources and a different type of business environment that has not been previously afforded to the agents. So I'm very excited. Why am I excited? Yeah, I do commercial real estate. Everybody knows that. For a couple of years, I was dedicated as Coldwell Banker Realty's senior commercial advisor. That's a mouthful. But now what I am is the director of all commercial operations. And I am also going to be heading that office, which means that under the heading of the new ownership and a willingness to work together, we're going to see drastic things improving and a change in the commercial real estate landscape, which is going to be a very, very important thing for the island going forward, because commercial real estate right now is in a state of uncertainty. You have certain parts of it that are thriving, you have other parts of it that are suffering, and then you have a lot of other components of it that are in limbo right now. And what this market needs is the right professionals directing and advising and guiding all the people affiliated and needing of help in commercial real estate services. It's a very big deal. Very big deal. So I'm not going to continue patting myself on the back as far as my new role, because everybody knows this role is not something that's for the weak of heart, and it's not something that is easy. It takes a lot of work. But I believe that I'm up to it, and apparently the new ownership feels that I'm up to it as well. So that is my new role. Now, what does that mean for my other parts of the business? Well, the management component, that doesn't change at all. I'm still a landlord. That's not going to change. Although if this eviction moratorium keeps continuing, I'm going to not be a landlord by default. Look at that. Look at my, I got my Starbucks coffee and it keeps disappearing with the camera. Modern technology. So that will not change. And as far as my responsibilities to my residential clients, that will not change as well. The same great team that I have working with me will continue working with me, and it's going to continue to expand. My clients are my clients. They're the ones that are my number one focus, no matter what my other responsibilities are. I will make sure that anybody that hires me or anybody that's part of the Cicalis team gets hired will have me at their disposal if needed, and make sure that we do everything we can to give them the best experience and the best real estate service amongst anybody else here on the island. And don't forget the rest of the, bordering towns in Queens and Brooklyn. So we will definitely be doing that. We will definitely be doing a lot of crazy different things. I'm wondering right now I'm hoping right now that this is working. I hope that I'm not sitting here and that this is okay. So I had something off right now. I'm hoping that doesn't change anything. If we were muted all this time, I'm going to lose my mind. I hope we weren't muted all this time. I really hope so. And if we were, shame on everybody that's watching right now for not telling me. I'm thinking that's funny. But we're going to be doing a lot of different things right now. And I'm going to be asking for a lot of the people that are viewing, a lot of the subscribers, a lot of the listeners, to send me in, as always, their requests to realestateplateradio@gmail.com, and to be sending any type of issues that they're having that they'd like us to help them focus on and talk about over the air. not only through that platform, we have accessibility through Facebook. You could easily find us on Facebook either by my name directly, Nick Sikalis, or you could find me through the real estate plate, or you could find any of our team members through there. All you have to do is put the Sikalis team and you'll find everybody. Now, in addition to that, as far as compiling and putting together a nice set of content for us to be going forward, we're going to be taking a different approach as well. During the times of quarantine, well, I got somebody telling me that he heard me, so I'm glad that somebody heard me. Thank you, Swan. Thank you very much. I think I know exactly who that is, but I'm not going to put him on the spot and make him feel awkward about me saying his name. But I do appreciate that. Very much so. But what we're doing right now is we're going to be refocusing on certain other elements of the business, not only directly on real estate. Believe me, there's always going to be components and there's always going to be elements that are either directly or indirectly affiliated with real estate. And that's the whole point of the show itself, and it's the whole point of the channel. It's the whole point of doing any of this content, of focusing on real estate. However, there were a lot of things that were happening during quarantine, during lockdown, during this whole insane pandemic environment that we were experiencing over the last year and a half. And one of those things where a lot of businesses, small businesses, were dramatically affected. They were put in a position where either they had to shut their doors down and never open up again, shut their doors down, take extreme losses, and weather the storm until they would be able to, get themselves back in gear, which slowly but surely this is happening now. And then you had other companies, other businesses, other small entrepreneurial type of individuals that adapted. And they took a different approach. And they took a really awful situation and turned it into something positive as far as their business was concerned, and possibly for their own families and their lifestyles. Because the one thing that I've always focused on and I've always talked about was that you have people that are able to take any situation, no matter how good and no matter how bad it is, and get the best they can out of it and adapt and make the right moves, calculated moves, intelligent business decisions that help them become stronger than ever. And you have a lot of that happened in this past year and a half. You also have a lot of people that were never able to get past the hump. You have a lot of businesses that are to this day really struggling. You have a lot of stuff that's going on right now that I think needs to be addressed. We did a few videos during the span of quarantine and lockdowns where we were focusing on what small businesses were doing in order to survive and in order to get themselves in a position to actually make some kind of income and some cash flow and keep their employees working, or take an experience where they lost all business altogether and develop new businesses. We went into a few of these kind of places. And after this stream fully processes, and I may have the ability to be able to put some links and some, end captions where you see upcoming videos, I'll put those links in there. And you'll be able to go to those videos of those businesses, or you could just go back to my old videos and find them, and you'll be able to see what I'm kind of talking about. And I think it's time to look at it now again, after everything is kind of settling in, after the dust settles, after a lot of these mandates and restrictions have been lifted and are slowly continuing to be lifted in many different aspects and different ways. See how these businesses are doing it. And I think it's something that not only I find interesting and important for the community and for the general public to understand and know, but I also think it's important for these businesses and small business owners to have their voices heard and let everybody know about the struggles that they had to go through and let everybody know about their triumphs as well. So sooner than later, I'm not going to give you the exact date of when it's going to go on. What I will say is, if you're listening for the first time and you're not subscribed already, make sure you subscribe to this channel and press that little bell thing. Why you have to press that little bell thing? Because that little bell thing will notify you when I put the new videos out. And when you get notified of those, you won't be missing any of these small business type of videos that we're going to be putting out there. Plus, you're supporting the channel, you're supporting the algorithm, you're being very nice to me by showing your support. And I do appreciate that. But if you don't care about anything about me or the channel, but do care about learning about these small businesses, then you should at least do it for the time period that I'm going to be doing that. And it's going to be coming in for the next few weeks. And then we're going to make it fun. It's not going to be all stuffy type of business environments, although we're going to have some of those kind of businesses as well. It's not going to be all about landlord and landlord rights, which we will have those. You know, I've been a big advocate for landlord rights, and I've been helping in every way I can, and I've been doing everything I can do in order to bring up awareness and show support for the small landlords, big landlords, property managers, asset management groups, everybody alike. We're not only going to do them. We're not only going to do the restaurants, which, you know, they struggled. Boy, have they struggled. It's been an endless battle for a lot of them. And some of them are still struggling. And some of them are prospering as well. And I want to focus on that too. But we're going to go into niche businesses as well. I mean, look what's been happening right now with this collectible market. Look at all these businesses that popped out of nowhere. Look at all these crazy type of circumstantial type of industries that have been popping up. I think that's important for us to focus on and let everybody know. How does that tie into real estate? Well, it always ties into real estate. Even if you're working remotely, it still has to do with real estate. Why? Well, I'll get into that in each individual video, but I'll give you a little bit of understanding. You run a restaurant, you got to run your restaurant somewhere. What are you paying for rent? And what are you paying in build-out costs? And et cetera, are very real estate related. And the same thing goes for anything else. Hell, you could be a stay-at-home podcaster. Do what I'm doing right this moment, and that could be your only focus. And that's the only thing you do. You could be a YouTube sensation. You could be a Facebook Live, celebrity, or Twitter, or TikTok, or you name it. You still have to do it out of a place, and you still need the facility to be able to run it, even if it's from your home. So it's all about real estate as well. So I'm going to make sure that we are going to give everybody their due. And based on what I am proposing and what we're going to be doing, and like I said, there's going to be some fun fun businesses that we're going to be talking about that I think people can appreciate. And even if you don't even understand the elements of these businesses, I know I'm being a little cloak and dagger and vague, but I don't want to ruin the surprises. If you know, they're going to come out there and basically show you something that you might never even consider that an actual business, or unless you're involved in that industry, you wouldn't know that it exists. It's going to be fun. So based on that, I'm going to tell you again, my email, the best way to send me in any suggestions, or once more, not only suggestions, but if you have anybody that you feel is a worthy interview and should be focused or highlighted on, any small business that's local, and it doesn't even have to be local to be the truth. I am focusing on the local because I could actually go into these places and I could actually meet with them and get some footage of the environment, etc., etc. But it doesn't have to be local. With this technology that we have right now, this Zoom technology, and this disappearing microphone that I have, I'm able to remotely have interviews with people from all over the world. So somebody could be in Texas and I could be interviewing them there, and they could use their camera to show us around. So don't limit yourself to the suggestions on just people like that are local. If they're out of state, even if they're international, please do so. Send them over. Again, the email is realestateplateradio@gmail.com. Now, what else are we going to be talking about? What else are we working on? What's going on with the market? I vaguely touched on what's going on with the market itself as far as a lot of the insanity that we're dealing with on the escape from New York mentality, which is still a thing. When I said this thing is going to roll until the end of the year, people thought I was crazy. Not so crazy, huh? It's still a real thing. FOMO is in the air. FOMO, by the way, is fear of missing out for the people that don't like initials. But FOMO is really in the air. Nothing else I could say about that. People are scared that they're going to miss out on another opportunity to find a home. And then you have other people as well that are in a real pinch because they have to move. And then you have the other side of the spectrum that's saying the world is going to collapse and the sky is falling and the entire real estate bubble or a world is going to collapse or burst or whatever you want to call it. Well, I'm going to tell everybody something and give you a real understanding of what really is going to happen. And as I always say, whatever you hear me say on this stream, on the radio show, anywhere that I'm publicly putting out any type of video, whatever I'm saying is my opinions. Now, my opinion holds a little bit of value, just a little bit. One, because I know what I'm talking about. This is what I live and breathe and do every day. And two, it's very well thought out and premeditated before I'm saying, unless you catch me in a thing where I'm just bantering with somebody. So I'm very mindful of the markets, whether we're heading for a good market, a bad market, or anything in between. I don't like to mince words. I don't like to do the whole rah-rah thing. I don't like to create an artificial hype just to prop up the market. because I think all that artificial hype and anything that people do, whether it's for a positive reason or for a negative reason, is actually detrimental in every single way you could think of the market, because it destroys public sentiment. It really does. I just like to give it the way it is. So, for on many occasions, I've said that we're not going to see a steep and sudden halt to this market, and it's not going to self-destruct, and it's not going to burst the way people are predicting it's going to be. And I'll tell you why. When I hear the comparisons to the 2008 2009 collapse, there were a couple major elements that were very different. One, there was a financial collapse that was the cataclysm. There was a lot of money being poured into bad investments. There was a lot of money being poured into pure speculation. There was a lot of money that was tied up in very bad paper. When I mean bad paper, I mean notes and that kind of stuff. You had hedge fund companies and portfolio companies putting together portfolios of, for lack of a better word, horrible real estate investments that they just packaged up, and they basically turned around and resold it over and over again to the highest bidder, thinking that the world was never going to end. Well, it ended for a lot of places. It ended up for a lot of financial institutions. You go talk to the people at Lehman. You go talk to the people at Bear Stearns. These were places that nobody expected that they could be touched. They were supposed to be too big to fail, but they did. You talk to places like Washington Mutual, where if you had a pulse, you're getting a loan. You talk to Countrywide, which were doing all kind of nefarious kind of business handlings. Look what happened to them. And I could be going on and on and on. The restraints and the financial restrictions on what these lending institutions and financial institutions were able to do back then were all on a different level altogether and completely uncharted. Now, are we seeing a little bit of that happening right now? Yes, we are seeing a little bit of that. You are seeing some people taking stated loans as long as they have good credit. Yes, they are paying a little bit higher as down payments, but they're getting those kind of loans. Not the greatest thing, but there are individuals that could benefit, and they do take advantage of it. The days of you have a pulse, you're getting a loan, not happening unless you're going to a hard money lender, private lender, or some type of lending institution that's not backed by any type of federally government type of program like Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac, Sony Mae, whatever you want to call, something to back up or FCC backed banks where they're making up their own rules. If you're going to go to one of these, pretty much loan sharks, yeah, they might give you the loan. They're also going to ask for, a few gallons of blood while you're doing that. It's not going to go unaccounted for with no collateral. So you have that part of it that has been taken out. The other thing is, everybody's focusing on the interest rates and that they're going to skyrocket and it's going to kill the market and that kind of thing. Well, I'm going to give everybody a newsflash. We are not going to see interest rates skyrocket overnight. It's not going to happen. You're not going to see the Fed doing 1 and 2 point increases from quarter to quarter. It's not going to happen. They're mindful enough. They're understanding enough of how our economy needs to be rebuilt. And will the interest rates come back to a more suitable rate? Yeah, probably. Because it goes both ways. Don't forget this. People are paying extremely low interest rates right now on loans for their homes and mortgages, but they're also getting nothing for having the money in the bank. So it works both ways, Yeah, you're getting cheap loans, but you're not getting anything on your cash. It's stuff that you have to take into consideration. There's a balance. There's check and balances. So for the people thinking that you're going to get those spikes and those jumps in interest rates overnight, it's not going to happen. It's not. It's just the way it is. They're smart enough to bring it up maybe an eighth, maybe a quarter at a time. Hell, maybe you get something dramatic a little down the line. Half a point. But you're not going to see those spikes and those huge jumps, which means that you're not going to have a quick shift of people that could afford a certain amount of, have a certain amount of lending power and borrowing power, lose it all overnight. Because that's really who it affects. The person that can get a $500,000 loan that's getting it at a 3.5%, let's say 3% loan, might not be able to get that $500,000 loan if it jumps up to 4. But if it comes up to 3.25 or 3.5, they might be able to do something still, or they just will buy something a little lower, or the prices will adjust in order to get there. Because right now, don't forget something else. We're basing ourselves as breaking highs on a daily level in a lot of different aspects, in a lot of towns, not all the towns and not all the price categories, but for that meat and potatoes type of, middle of the pack kind of real estate here in New York, when you're talking about like that $400,000 to $700,000 mark, anything that's in that range, you're talking about bidding wars happening and aggressive and rabid buyers looking to purchase these places. Why? Because they're the biggest pool of buyers out there that can afford these places. Once you jump up to the $1 million, $1.5 million, $2 million marks, not so much. The demand slows down, not only for financial reasons, the necessity reasons as well. Somebody that's moving out of one house to get into the $2 million house or $3 million house doesn't necessarily have to move overnight. And usually it's a lifestyle choice. It's a lifestyle choice more than a necessity choice in many cases. And the higher you go up the bracket, the less the necessity. And it's more of a want. The less of a need. And it's more of a fulfillment of a desire. You go all the way up to $10, $20 million. Your pool just keeps shrinking and shrinking. So those markets are a little different. Commercial markets, if you have a place that is collecting optimal rents and it has great cash flow going for it, then you really have a great situation because you have an ideal property that's getting great cash flow, and you could probably get the best of the best loans on it or refinance it in the best of the best ways. And you're probably in great shape because you could probably get a really good deal compared to today's market and compared to yesterday's market, just for the sheer fact that you have the ability to be able to purchase a place and you're getting that property that's premium. The problem that you're having in most situations, especially in the ones that have multiple units, whether then they're residential or they're commercial units, it could be retail, it could be office space, it could be industrial space for all and the eviction moratorium, which has caused major issues. You have plenty of landlords that are more than willing to sell their places. They really desperately want to sell their places. Problem is, what they're asking for and what they should be asking for is not attainable, at least not from a conventional method. Because oftentimes, if somebody's going to get it with a typical loan, even if they're getting a 30-40% loan, 30% down payment commercial deal, where they're getting 70% LTV, they're not getting it. Why? Because the landlord's not collecting all the rents. And because of the moratoriums that were put in place, and because of all these nightmares that we're going to be dealing with for months upon months to come in the future through the courts, and more lost income and more delayed cash flow and more expense, these commercial buildings, these normally cash flowing buildings or properties, are basically in limbo. Now, are some deals happening? Yes, they are. Are some people coming in, taking advantage of the situation with full cash deals? I'll buy it. I'll take it off your hands. I'll do whatever I have to do to get out there. You don't have to do a thing. But you're going to sell it for me at a steep discount. Are those deals happening? Yes, they are. Absolutely, they are. They're happening every day, and they will continue to happen every day. And even though they're not, out there in the public, or they're flying under the radar, they're happening. They are happening. And I'm just telling everybody, be aware of these deals. Be aware that this is happening. To landlords out there, be strong. I feel you. I'm one of you. Be strong. Do what you can. It's not easy. Not everybody has the same pockets. Not everybody has the same sustainability. Not everybody has the same amount of nerves and stomach to be able to deal with what all the landlords are dealing with right now. And my heart goes out to you, because I'm at my breaking point more times than not. But we endure. The same way everybody's endured a lot of different obstacles and endured a lot of difficult situations and deprived themselves and restrained themselves financially and sacrificed in order to get themselves to the position of becoming landlords. Same way they got to that point, that same fortitude is what is keeping them going through these turbulent times, through these difficult times, through these eviction moratorium times. And again, I will be talking to, amongst a lot of the small business owners that I'm going to be talking to, I will be talking to not only individual small landlords, because believe me, it is a part of their life as far as these properties that they own, but it is also a business. And we want to know how everybody's doing. The first thing I'm going to release is a video package that I had received from a good friend of the channel and somebody that I believe has gone through a lot. Clarence Hammer. If you're watching, Clarence, my heart's with you. He sent me a couple of videos that I need to finish editing and put on there. Sent them a while ago, and it's been such a beast to get past certain responsibilities through work to continue with the editing. I might actually be getting some help as far as editing some videos and maybe take away some of the burdens and responsibilities from that part and give a better quality video and production experience for everybody, because you could tell I'm not that sophisticated when it comes to this stuff. I could do enough, but when it comes to the streaming and all that stuff, I just don't have the maybe it's not the patience, or maybe it's personally, maybe it's my need to take care of things that are urgent. Not that the show isn't urgent, not that the videos aren't urgent, but for me, like I said, my clients, my customers, everybody that depends on me, that puts their trust in me, come first. So if taking care of them and doing the right thing by them, business-wise, morally-wise, and having a little bit of low-quality videos, so be it. So be it. But hopefully, maybe through hiring somebody, I'll be able to do a much better type of production and provide better quality content. So we'll see how that goes. I'll do my very, very best. No promises, but I'll do my very, very best. But I think everybody's going to enjoy these upcoming business video profiles. And I also think that it's the perfect time of the year to be doing that, because just remember what was happening last year during this time. Everybody was locked up. Everybody was, in turmoil, like not knowing what they're going to do. We thought we were going to get out of it. Then we got back into it. And we got lifted. And then we got locked down again. It was a crazy, crazy experience. It was a crazy environment. And it's definitely something that's going to remain with a lot of us for many, many years to come. And it's definitely going to be something that a lot of us will never forget. And it's going to go into history books. It will, I promise you, this is going to go into the history books. It's going to go into a lot of different studies, psychological elements. We're going to be we're talking about like a lot of crazy stuff that has happened that are really going to be showing their effects for many years to come. So I'm only going to be doing a lot of this content as far as one, reflecting, focusing on what the problems and what the good things are, and help the healing a little bit for not only the business environment, for our collective as a community, to be able to get ourselves financially back on the same levels that we were before and beyond that. So that being said, whoever's still on here with me and endured this turbulent stream with all the technical issues and all the problems, thank you for staying on. And for everybody that's going to be watching the replay, thank you for watching the replay. And for everybody else and everybody in the future and everybody everywhere, have a great night. Have a great week. Make a lot of money with real estate. I will be doing a couple more videos this week, and I will be doing some pre-recorded as well. And you're going to be happy with a lot of the upcoming content. Again, don't forget to email me with any suggestions and anybody that you feel would be a great person to interview at the real estate plate radio at gmail.com. And before you sign off, make sure you click that like button. Make sure you press subscribe, please. It'll be nice. That little ding, ding, ding bell. And if you have something to say, just put a comment down below. Till the next time, thanks for watching. Feels weird doing this without Trevor next to me.